A big one.
Have you been?
Yeah, yeah. How we know about 20 years ago when student ran the red light and the in parked cars, but I was dressed as Jeff, Aisha, and I would.
Hi, everyone. We'll get the meeting started. Thank you all for joining our October PCC and policy meeting. I know everyone, but I'm Mike Fenn, the director of GBNRTC. Our chairperson for PCC, which is the first meeting we're doing. So the way today's going to be structured, we're going to do our PCC meeting first and probably just roll right into the policy meeting. Garrett Meal is our chair for PCC. So Garrett, if you want to take it away.
Hold on for a second. I had it working now. Good.
Get some more things you
Get working and then.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Erie County?
Present.
Niagara County?
Present.
Niagara Falls?
Present.
City of Buffalo?
Present.
Joy Authority?
Present.
DOT?
Present.
And FTA?
Present.
All account.
Everybody's got the meeting agenda in front of them, had a chance to take a look at it. Get motion. Motion made by NFTA, seconded by Erie County. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Approval of the previous meeting minutes from September 3rd.
Niagara Falls will make a motion to NFTA second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? So moved. All right, communications. Angela.
All right, communications report for September. This is reporting on the month of September, but there's a couple of things that came in at the beginning of October that we did notate on the communications report, particularly with our public comments. Not all of them are on here, so there is a note on here letting you know that everything is not covered as far as all the public comments we got this week. So just be aware that those come out on the next communications report for the next meeting. And of course, it will be part of the reports for any individual project. So just kind of giving you that heads up before we get into it. So this month, our highlight post is the 18-Mile Creek Greenway project. We had a pop-up at the Hamburg Farmers Market. Yes, thank you. And it was great. It was great. We had a good turnout, and it is definitely going to be in rotation for us as far as public engagement goes. Our top 5 visitor pages, main page, which is gbnrtc.org, maps and data, the tip, career opportunities, and public notices. All of our social media did go up this month. This is big for us because every month we lose a couple here and there. And for the most part, it was an average of 7 additional followers across the board for all of our social media. 26% more visitors on our website compared to the month before, which is great. but it is also standard with where we were last year. Stakeholder engagement, you guys will see on your communications report as well, the list of our stakeholder engagement and community engagement. But just to kind of go through it quickly, our community engagement, we had our PCC meeting, as I mentioned, the 18-mile Creek Greenway project pop-up that we had September 20th, the draft comprehensive climate action plan public meetings, we had two, September 16th and September 18th, and the public participation plan public meeting that happened on September 24th. For stakeholder, we had the It's For Us Operations Readiness Demonstration, September 9th to the 11th, Live Well Earring Meeting, September 18th, the BNMC Transportation Management Council Meeting, September 18th as well, the NITEC Annual Meeting that happened on September 22nd, and Region 5 AGC New York State Regional Highway Meeting on October 2nd. You will also find on here some articles and publications. If you scan the QR code that's right at the bottom, you'll be able to see the article if you're interested in reading more. There was just two. And of course, as always, I do include on here the traffic, our website traffic, and what's going on with our website. If you're ever interested in following more on that, you will see it on the last two pages. And that pretty much covers it all. Yeah. So those are the in the news articles that you're free to read. QR code.
All right. Any questions for Angelica? Thank you. Public participation. Open the floor for comments. Please keep your comments within 3 minutes. Doug?
I'll just be quick. We're anxious to see lots of questions about the new tip extends to Kensington, so we're anxious to find out how that's turning out. I like personally the new name a lot better. It has much broader scope to it. Queen City focus, so I like that, but we hope that we can move in good directions in using that and extend it beyond just that little thing. That's the question we had. Jim might want to mention it as well. I also wanted to just say quickly on the 10 steps on climate action report that came out. We commented on these, extensively, so I won't say much here. But we're disappointed that the transportation focus is entirely on electric vehicles. Almost, it really is. Encourage public transportation and get people out of their cars. So that's a disappointment we had in that. That's all.
Thanks, Doug. Comments?
I have a couple. Typically, I mentioned the public commentary during my communications report, so I'll do that really quickly here. You will see them as well also on the communications report. We don't have anything on Facebook or on Zoom at the moment, but we did receive a couple general public comments, one on the interest in passenger rail, the Amtrak to expand east, north, and west from Buffalo. We received that as an email from Roy Davis. We also received a Facebook message from Jim Rudnicki, shared interest in DOT to build an inland alternative to the Skyway section Route 5. We received project-specific messages as well. As you know, we responded to the draft 2630 tip. All of the comments that we have received, we did respond to all of them. And we did receive one response back to that, and which was, thank you for that response. I have moved out of Buffalo to Cincinnati, but nonetheless, was very pleased to hear DOT's plan of action. Thanks to everyone for listening to the people. So I want to make sure I share that. That was a positive feedback that came back. We received some feedback with the Greenway Trails, submitted website form from Thomas Frank, and a couple as well for the CCAP or the Buffalo Niagara Comprehensive Climate Action Plan that came in via the website and email. All of these have been responded to. And lastly, we received a couple comments on the draft governance and operations plan as well. And as mentioned before, we kept receiving some this week that are not mentioned on the report, but will be mentioned down the line. That's it.
No other public? On to our action items. Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So finally here. So the tip development has been going on since April of last year. quite a while, been an extensive process. So what we're hoping to do today is to present our draft tip to the board for recommendation and then to get a approval at the following policy meeting. So for those unfamiliar with the tip, there are two required products before we're able to approve our transportation improvement program. The first is a air quality conformity document, which states whether those projects listed in the tip will have any possible impact to air quality. And the second is an MPO self-certification, which proves that the MPO, GB, and RTC in this case is following all federal requirements as an MPO. So the first one we're going to talk about today is the transportation conformity document. So every time we update either the TIP or the long-range transportation plan, we need to update our transportation conformity determination. And accordingly, we did that this time as well. So GB and RTC is considered to be part of the Buffalo Niagara Falls non-attainment area for 1997 8-hour ozone standards, and thus the determination of conformity with the Clean Air State Implementation Plan is required as part of the TIP and long-range plan as stated. So the GB and RTC has assigned responsibility for approving the conformity determination to the developed by the GB and RTC and DOT in consultation with the New York State Interagency Consultation Group. So you'll be hearing me talk about ICG a lot. So that's the group that we're talking about. So once we make determinations on air quality effects of these projects, we submit those to the ICG and they determine whether they concur or they can also challenge our recommendation and recommend a different either exemption code or a non-exempt status. Draft conformity determination concludes that all transportation programs and plans within the Niagara Falls non-attainment area are in conformity with the SIP, in accordance to transportation conformity rules published by the US EPA and the New York State DEC. As mentioned, all projects and recommended exemptions were submitted to ICG, and they concurred on March 28th that all of those exemption statuses were valid. The draft conformity determination has undergone a 30-day public comment period that closed on June 2nd. No comments were received. Therefore, today's PCC action would be to recommend the draft transportation conformity document to Policy Committee for approval as a prerequisite of TIP approval via Resolution 2025-23.
Anybody like to make that recommendation? DOT makes a motion to recommend.
NFTA second.
Made and seconded. Any questions on this matter?
No questions. I just wanted to thank everybody, staff, and staff for working through the transportation conformity on these two really important projects, NFTA, Bailey Avenue, bus rapid transit, and the Metro Rail extension. On Metro Rail extension, the project that's listed there now is the environmental reviews and some preliminary engineering. We look forward to working with the group on future amendments to the TIP to recognize the full cost of Metro Rail or Metro Transit expansion, and look forward to moving this TIP forward.
Anything else? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, so the second required element before we approve the TIP is the self-certification. That has already been recommended by this body, so we're going to pass on that now. We'll get back to it in the policy meeting when it's time for approval. So the next item on your agenda is the TIP itself. So this is the TIP covering federal fiscal years 2026 to 2030. So for those unfamiliar with federal fiscal years, they start on October 1st and end on September 30th. So federal agencies require federal regulations require that each MPO develop and approve a transportation improvement program. Regionally allocated funding targets for the program were published by NISDOT in October 2024 in their tip-stip guidance document. The tip that we're about to see covers a period of no less than 4 years. Our GBNRTC tip covers 5, and it must be updated at least every 4 years. We update ours every 3 years. It must also be approved by the MPO Policy Board, which we will do at our public policy meeting after this, and the governor of the state. The tip provides all interested parties with a reasonable opportunity to comment. We'll talk about the public comment process in a little bit. It makes progress towards achieving defined performance targets. On the last couple of transportation bills, performance-based programming has been a very important item to include to make sure that the projects that we program are moving the line in terms of those defined performance targets. The tip also includes capital and non-capital surface transportation projects within the boundaries of the metropolitan area. They contain all regionally significant projects requiring action by the FHWA or the FTA. They include projects or project phases that are consistent with the long-range transportation plan and implementing that plan. They include financial plans that demonstrates how the approved tip can be implemented. They include a project or a phase of a project only if the funding can reasonably be anticipated to be available for the project for the time period contemplated. So this isn't a wish list of projects. These are projects in which funding has been identified and targeted. Finally, they identify criteria and process for prioritizing implementation of the transportation plan elements. The tip development process that was undergone satisfies the program of projects or POP requirements of the Federal Transit Administration Urban Area Formula Programs 5307C. GBNRTC has self-certified or is in the process of self-certifying its metropolitan planning process, and that's being carried forth as a requirement of federal regulations. 30-day outreach period, public outreach period, and interagency outreach period included 2 public information meetings, and then the extended interagency consultation period was also carried out in the period of May 2nd to June 2nd. So ICG has reviewed all projects as stated in our previous item. And as far as public comments, 234 public comments were received, acknowledged, and responded to by GBNRTC and or project sponsors. And we appreciate everyone's patience as we went through all 234 of those comments and made sure that everyone was responded to. So with that, today's PCC action would be to recommend the draft FFY 26 to 30 Transportation Improvement Program to Policy Committee for approval via Resolution 2025-24.
All right. Makes a motion.
Niagara Falls will second.
Made and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Just one thing, thanks again to the team. It was definitely a drawn out process, understanding what the issues were and what we had to work through. So I appreciate everyone's patience. Finally, we're here and I'm glad we can get to stay here and move forward. Thank you and appreciate the patience again.
I'll echo with that with the GBNRTC team. It's a big effort, a lot of work goes into it, so appreciate everything that you put into it. Well, with that, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so item C.
And save a little more congratulations, we still got to do the policy vote. But real quick, some non-tip related business. We have to do 2 amendments today to our Unified Planning Work Program, UPWP as we call it. So Just a quick refresher on what the UPWP is. It's our staff work plan. It's what we as the GBNRTC staff do. Our current plan rather was approved in February of 24, and we do a 2-year plan. For everyone's information, the next UPWP 26-28 is in development, and we'll have that out for public review in December. So this first amendment, we're going to do 2 today, is for the Blue Water Tower Pell study. When we originally put this together 2 years ago, we kind of put a budget together that was only $200,000. As we developed the final scope and got the bids in, the real the cost need for that is $850,000. We have plenty of money in our carryover to handle that. And so what today's action is to ultimately authorize GBNRTC to use that carryover funding that's available towards this extra funding for the Blue Water Tower Pell study. So with that, I can answer any questions. One thing, the action today would be to approve the amendment, but it's on the condition that DOT main office finishes their final review. They do a financial review of our TIP amendments, UPWP amendments. I'm 99% sure there's tons because we have multiple millions available in carryover. We're only using a fraction of that. So, but I do need to have that condition in there so they can do their final check for us.
Need to remind us all what a Pell is.
Thank you. Planning and environmental linkage study. This will be the 3rd planning and environmental linkage study that's done in Western New York. It's a pre-scoping plan that looks at all possible available concepts, regardless of how maybe seemingly crazy they might think or they might be. And I'll use some examples because they're doing one for Twin Cities Memorial Highway right now. They looked at a tunnel. They looked at like a sky bridge, like the Skyway carrying the Twin Cities, elevated. And they go through a screening process to whittle those down into what's really feasible and what can be carried into further study. Advantage of them is 1, they're very comprehensive. And 2, you do environmental work during the Pell process that can be carried into NEPA and seeker. So you gain some efficiencies that way. Good question. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, comments? Somebody like to move that? County? Everybody second? All in favor? Opposed? Move.
Our next amendment is even more straightforward. There are 2 grants that we partnered with Thruway and DOT on that the Thruway and DOT were awarded and that we are listed as a subrecipient. The first one is the Grand Island Bridges Bridge Improvement Program, BIP. And it's a planning grant to study the future of the Grand Island bridges. What type of alignment, what type of traffic they need to carry, environmental considerations. Our scope in that is traffic modeling and public outreach support. And the budget that we put together for the grant was $167,149. In the resolution, you'll see it says not to exceed. I don't know that we need every dollar of that. We'll work out the final with Thruway and DOT in the next part. So that's the Grand Island BIP grant. Then we also, with DOT, a planning grant to study regional storm communications is an effort that DOT is going to be putting together. Our scope with that is just public outreach support. The funding, $448,501. That one seems bigger, even though we're doing less scope, because that has the potential for us to be hiring a consultant directly. Whereas the Thruway Authority one, the Thruway is going to have all of the consultant. The budget is just staff time. So that larger number is staff time plus consultant, even though the scope is a little bit smaller. So today's action is to approve us to accept those grant funds, enter into a subrecipient agreement, and amend our UPWP appropriately. I don't need to condition this one because main office already signed off on this. Like I said, it's easier because the revenue's coming in with the expenses. Answer any questions if there are any.
DOT makes a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Back to Rich.
Okay, we have a couple of tip actions to talk about. First is the addition of a new project, and two are project modifications to existing projects. The first is pin 501025 US 20A at New York 400 and US 20A at New York 78 intersection improvements. So this is a request to add a new project to the tip to improve operations and safety at those specified intersections. As the construction for this project will not begin until May of 2028, this request before you today is only to add the preliminary design phase to the current tip. Once the tip is approved, the rest of the project is included on the 26 to 30 tip. So $335,000 is the cost of the preliminary design phase. Constraint will be maintained as that same $335,000 will be transferred to a pavement maintenance block from a pavement maintenance block fund 5B 1555. ICG concurred that this project is exempt from air quality determination with exemption code A6, a highway safety improvement program implementation project. Public review completed on September 21st. No comments were received. Did DOT have anything to add before we vote?
Just one thing, that this project was, what's being added here is included on the new tip, but the delay in improving the new tip was gonna cause a delay in the project schedule, which we didn't wanna incur. So that's why it's being added here again, just for preliminary design to get this going. Once the new tip is approved, the remaining phases will be there for us.
With that, today's action at PCC would be to approve this new project via resolution 2025-20.
Makes a motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay. The next action before you is a project modification, EdMod 120. This is pin 581503 ITS rehab on the I-290, I-990, and New York 198. The request is to modify the existing project to add additional funding, which is needed for increases in equipment costs, material costs, and design changes to meet current standards. As a result, the construction and construction inspection phases will be increased by a total of $2.62 million. Fiscal constraint will be maintained as the same amount, $2.62 million, will be transferred from that same 5B 1555 pavement maintenance block fund. This modification was recommended by TPS on 9/17, as it was a cost change over $500,000. And today's action would be to approve the cost.
Good.
Niagara Falls will make a motion.
DOT second.
Made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? In favor? Opposed? So moved.
Okay, and finally, we have pin 513449, Route 5, abandoned railroad bridge. This is near the Tip Nature Preserve. DOT is making a request to modify this existing tip project to add additional funding for foundation enhancement. Construction and construction phases will be increased by a total of $3.214 million. Fiscal constraint is maintained as the same amount, $3.214 million, will be transferred from that same 5B 1555 pavement maintenance block fund. This action, as it is once again over $500,000, was recommended by TPS on September 17th. And today's action would be to approve the cost increase.
Just one thing to note on this is an abandoned railroad on Route 5 on the Outer Harbor. It's hard to see in the picture, but near the pier on the left, there is a pedestrian path which connects Furman Boulevard runs north along the east side of Route 5 and then connects back through a pedestrian structure to the north. So this project is actually going to fill this structure in and provide for a box structure for an avenue to get that path from one side of Route 5 to the other. So.
Really make a motion.
Motion made,
City of Buffalo, second.
seconded. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? So moved. That's it for action items. Move on to discussion items.
Just one action that was approved at TPS last month. That was pin 576379 Sharp Street at Springbrook. Erie County had requested to delete the right-of-way phase from the project. And all programmed right-of-way funding, which was only $11,000, was subsequently transferred to the project's construction phase, and that was approved as add-on number 122. Public review, as you can imagine from all of these approvals that are before you, there's been a lot of public review activity. So 2 items recently completed public review yesterday. Those included the draft governance and operations plan. 3 comments were received on that plan, and the draft Buffalo Niagara Comprehensive Climate Action Plan. 6 comments were received on that plan. Currently in public review until October 20th is the draft public participation plan, and 2 comments have been received so far on that plan.
Rich? Moving right along here. On to our member agency reports. Start out with the NFTA.
I don't have anything. No problem. I never don't have anything.
Yeah.
We're laughing.
Niagara Falls.
So just minor, we are actually kicking off our streetscape reconstruction through our bridge district or the DRI district, basically running from train station to Pierce Ave. So it's all of Main Street. So I get my kickoff meeting tomorrow, so I'm very excited about that. Of course, we'll coordinate with everybody who has interest in that gets started.
Thanks. DOT?
Nothing for me either.
Ruway.
Seeing it's my second week in this position, so I have nothing right now.
I think.
Nothing.
Buffalo.
Just 3 projects to update on that have been high priority for the city that have been on the tip. Car sharing Main and Jefferson are both slated to break ground this month, so we're happy to start some utility work and minor work this season, hit the ground running fully next season. And then Middle Main project, which is Goodell all the way to Kensington. We are out to bid later this month as well, so get it out to bid and hopefully break ground next spring.
Niagara County. Nothing. And nothing from Niagara County today. Director.
Okay. One quick announcement for me. The APWA, American Public Works Association, is going to be having a meeting. It's actually at our office, or we're hosting it for them because we got a nice space in the Sunburst room. But Athena's going to be presenting about all roads. So anyone interested in that? PDHs are usually offered for those who need PDHs. That's all for me.
Anything else to be brought forward for PCC? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. County, Buffalo, all in favor?
Aye.
So move. Thank you, everyone.
Don't run away, Garrett and Eric, because you got to sign resolutions after. We're just going to keep rolling right into the policy meeting. Erie County. Present. Niagara County. Here. Thruway. Present. DOT. Sorry. That's good. Niagara Falls, NFTA, and City of Buffalo. Present.
Hey, likewise, I hope everybody's had a chance to see the agenda. I have a motion to accept. Second. Any discussion needed? All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstaining? All right, motion's passed. Likewise, same with the meeting minutes. Anybody have a motion to accept?
I propose we'll make a motion.
Second,
Very second.
any discussion needed? Motion to accept. Oh, sorry. Vote to accept the meeting minutes from last. All in favor? Any abstaining or opposed? Period. Open up the public comment period. Please keep the comments under 3 minutes and to topics on the agenda. Anyone?
Nothing online or on Zoom.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just got a quick comment. I see the agenda, I just put the agenda now, so, but the tip is on the agenda here, so we're looking forward to hearing that. And we hope that the public comments, there were a lot of them received. I hope that they're all reflected and we have a really good plan for the Kensington, other things as well. Looking forward to seeing.
Any others? We're over for action items to rest.
Okay. I tried not to repeat myself on a lot of these slides, so I made them a little bit different than what we just saw in PCC. So the first one is the self-certification that was discussed early in the second meeting. So this is one of those requirements that we need to do every time we do a tip to make sure that we're fulfilling all of our federal regulations and requirements. So it's a required element of all tips for all MPOs, and we must certify that our transportation plan process is transportation planning process is addressing all the major issues in the metropolitan area. It is being conducted in accordance with all applicable requirements. So in accordance to this, we have conducted an MPO self-certification required for the update. A narrative was completed by GBNRTC covering all required agreements for the MPO, required planning and technical work of the MPO, and administrative management for the MPO. MPO action on self-certification was scheduled to coincide with tip approval action. And I just wanted to make a note that we did just undergo a federal certification as well. However, this is still required even though we recently did a federal certification. So PCC had previously recommended the self-certification on June 18th. And today's action for the policy committee would be to approve the self-certification via resolution 2025-22.
Move that. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Motion's carried.
All the members have seen all of these documents, probably ad nauseum, but if any of the public's interested, there are all copies of each document on the back table as well. So the next required document is our transportation conformity determination, which we recommended at PCC. Just as a refresh, all MPOs must amend our transportation conformity determination every time the TIP or long-range transportation plan is updated. The conformity determination concludes that all transportation plans and programs within the Buffalo and Niagara Falls, New York non-attainment area are in conformity with the New York State SIP in accordance with transportation conformity rules published by the US EPA and New York State DEC. As previously stated, the ICG concurred that all of the TIP project classifications were correct on March 28th. Just going in a little more detail on the non-exempt. So projects can either be exempt or non-exempt from transportation conformity. Exempt means that they're not anticipated to have any air quality impacts. Non-exempt means they can either have a possible positive or negative impact. Given our attainment status, all we need to do is to identify whether they're exempt or not exempt. We don't need to model non-exempt projects. So for the currently anticipated TIP approval, we have 9 projects that were classified as non-exempt. So once again, that means they may or may not have air quality impacts. 2 of those are new projects and 7 are carryover projects. The remainder of all the projects on the anticipated TIP were classified as exempt and given an exemption code. The conformity determination underwent a 30-day public comment period, which closed on June 2nd. No comments were received. These recommendations were also submitted to the interagency consultation group who concurred, and the action was recommended by PCC about half an hour ago. So therefore, today's policy committee action would be to approve the transportation conformity document via resolution 2025-23.
I have a motion to approve.
Here, can I put this motion?
I have a second. City Buffalo, second. Discussion needed? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, this motion's carried.
Now we have the preliminary documents approved, we can move into the main TIP document. So once again, the TIP's a fiscally constrained, federally required listing of upcoming federally funded transportation projects over a minimum 4-year period, including highways, bridges, transit, and bicycle pedestrian facilities. The TIP also serves as the implementation tool for the region's long-range transportation plan. MPOs are required to develop a TIP that incorporates public input and requires the state and governor approval to ensure fiscal responsibility and alignment with state and regional goals. So the TIP features regionally allocated federal funding targets. So that's the amount of money that's anticipated to come into the region for the life of the TIP. That was published in October 2024, TIP guidance document from New York State DOT. Once that happened, an extensive TIP project development and selection process was incorporated. I thank all the members for all their hard work during that time. 234 public comments were received, acknowledged, and responded to in regards to the draft transportation improvement program. Once again, the ICG concurred with all air quality conformity determinations. Just before we get on the other slide is a quick breakdown of the categories in which funding was allocated. And as you can see, over the 5-year life of the TIPs, over $2.5 billion, quite substantial. So PCC just recently recommended the approval of this document. Once approved, the TIP will then be transmitted to New York State DOT in Albany for inclusion in the STIP document. I don't know if we have any timelines. Does anyone have any timelines for going live or?
Oh, yeah, we know that we're gonna expedite the review process with FHWA, the public comment period, to move as fast as possible. But no timeline.
Therefore, today's policy action would be to approve the federal fiscal year 26 to 30 transportation improvement program via resolution 2025-24.
After a long wait, do I have a motion to?
Here, County will put that.
Do I have a second? Niagara Falls will second. Need any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any abstaining or opposed? Motion's carried.
we can skip the status report since we just did the PCC meeting, but I did want to take this opportunity as the director to thank our members certainly, but our staff absolutely. Rich led the effort for the tip, as we know. Kim did a ton of work pulling all of the background information and all the tables, and I don't know how she keeps herself sane. Angelica responded to all 200 and some odd of those comments. And all of our staff formulated what became the grading program or grading system that we use for all the projects for this year. So it was a really good effort, and I'm very proud of it. So thank you, and great job, team.
We'll echo that on behalf of New York State DOT as a whole. Your patience, your teamwork has been noticed statewide. This is something that definitely, although it was difficult for all of us, reflects very highly of us in Albany. And it's really, when it comes down to GBNRTC, it comes down to all the members, the fact that we can all work together. So I apologize that we couldn't get this going forward quicker than we did. But I am amazed with the teamwork and the effort that you guys all put in. So thank you for that.
So since I didn't go first on the first time on it either, I will thank the GBNRT staff and also State DOT for walking me through my first tip. And so it was a nice learning experience, but I do appreciate everybody's effort on it. So thank you all.
I guess I'll go around again just in case anybody has any questions. I know we did it at PCC or any other comments. So any other agencies, we'll start with NFTA agency reports.
Just thanks again to the staff and the collaborative region and the work that's been done here.
Niagara Falls.
Nothing further.
DOT, we got it through
Nothing further.
Okay. NITEC. Right. City of Buffalo.
Kudos to the team.
Erie County.
Same kudos to everybody. Thank you.
Niagara County. And then Mike. Anything else we need to discuss today? All right, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second. Okay, you guys ready to get out of here? All in favor? Any opposed or abstaining?